Feed the Light is a Lovecraft horror movie. So, before we get into the plot of this movie, a little bit of kind of like pre warning. This movie is very confusing, very weird, in a foreign language, which isn't a big deal at all, and is in black and white, which isn't a big deal at all. It's very confusing and weird, so just take that with a grain of salt before you watch this movie. So, the plot of the movie, this lady is in this facility. You don't really know what's happening. It's kind of a mystery. It's in black and white, and she sees a bunch of people cleaning. Well, the lady comes up to her and is like, "What are you doing in my facility?" "Well, I guess you're here for the job." And the lady was actually kind of sneaking around the facility, and she was caught, so she panics and says, "Yes, I'm here for the job." Well, she ends up getting the job instantly, which is insane. And she's like, "Look, you gotta clean up this stuff, this dust, before the vermin come," or whatever. And she's confused, as was I. And yeah, she has to suit up in like this cleaning gear and go clean some stuff. And just already things are weird. There's this guy, he starts freaking out about the dust and the light. Well, she starts cleaning up, and then the other cleaning people are like, "Yeah, you gotta get the dust," and she don't see no dust. She's like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "It's literally everywhere. You just gotta look in the right spots and to the light." Well, she ends up looking in the right spot in the light and just notices all this like glittery dust stuff on the ground, which was crazy. Well, she meets some people, meets her husband, ends up fully getting caught, and she's like, "Look, the only reason I'm here is because I have to get my daughter. My husband brought my daughter into this facility, and they ain't came back home. Where are they?" Well, when she meets her husband has been aged. She's like, "Well, I just seen you like a week ago, a couple days ago." And he's like, "No, for him, it's been a long time. Not sure how long, but pretty sure like 5 years or something like that. Like a crazy time, maybe longer." And they start explaining to this lady that, "Look, you're in this facility, there's this dust that attracts these shadow people, but there's also like this other reality dimension, and you have to mess with the lights, and you don't want to go in there because their time's different." And that's basically why dude ages, because he went to this second floor, which was basically this other dimension or reality, whatever. Time works differently there. He was there for a long time, and yeah, that's how he aged. Well, she goes there, gets her daughter, finds her daughter, and as she's trying to escape, just this building won't let her out, and she gets caught by like the main boss lady that gave her the job to begin with. Some stuff happens, very confusing. She has this opportunity to free the light. I'm not sure what the light is. I'm not really sure what the shadow people are. I assume the shadow people are just the people on the other reality, and the other reality, I'm not sure. A lot of unanswered questions. They really don't answer no questions, but we'll get more into that in the review, which we're doing now, because that's basically the movie, without too many spoilers, which I kind of spoiled a lot, but not really. So, my review to Feed the Light in this movie. So, this is going to be very out of place because I had to do this through editing. I completely forgot when I first did this review of the guy who was ass naked strangling our main character, and when he's strangling her, he starts, it's like a super close-up of his butthole, and he just starts shitting out the dust out of his ass. Yeah, that was insane. Forgot to add that. Back to what I was talking about. So before we get into the negatives, which clearly there's going to be some, let's talk about the positives because there were some positives. The main positives, there were some really, really cool scenes, some really good shots in this movie. The camera work with the filter of the black and white was really, really good. Also, the other dimension wasn't black and white, it was like this yellow filmed tint, and the blood was red. Anything red was red, so it popped out, which was pretty good. The main thing, besides just some really cool shots that were just weird, that's what this movie really was. It was just kind of like a weird movie, was the sound effects. The sound effects are basically what runs this movie. It's done really, really well, honestly. I liked it a lot. Like, there's just spots where it'll be no background noise and they'll focus on like breathing, or then they'll focus on the background noise, or just like the background noise has like this music that's ominous and creepy. It's just like all that stuff just really, really worked really, really well. Besides that, the acting wasn't nothing crazy. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't really good. And just the movie in general, because I've clearly not read the Lovecraft story that this is based on, was just extremely confusing in the sense that there's really no answers. Like, I feel like it's meant to be confusing because it's a mystery, so you want to ask questions. You're like, what is this? Blah, blah, blah. But then when it gets to the end, it really doesn't explain anything. I assume you're just supposed to figure it out on your own or look it up, which I haven't. I just jumped right into the review. But yeah, it's definitely like, huh? Because some stuff didn't even make sense. I wonder if they just like really tried to stick to like Lovecraft's story, because those were written a long time ago. And Lovecraft supposedly wrote his stories from his nightmares, so like maybe that's why it was so confusing, because it's a story from a nightmare. Yep. Besides that, it's gonna be a weird recommendation, so we're gonna get into the recommendation. And so this is like, if you asked me, did I enjoy it? Did I think the movie was good? Not really. There were some good things about it, but like, I don't think the movie was that good, just because it's like, what's happening? And honestly, for a lot of people, they probably wouldn't have gave this movie more than 20 minutes, just because it was kind of like bad. But for me, I found this super interesting. I love the whole uniqueness of it. I love the vibe. I love the creepy weirdness of it. So I actually did enjoy it, and I liked the movie. But when it comes to recommendations, I would probably not recommend this movie. I want to say skip it because it was still worth a watch, but I wouldn't even kind of recommend it. I would probably just not recommend this to nobody, because it's definitely very unique, and I'm not saying I forced myself to like it, but definitely I'm in the mood right now for creepiness, so it definitely vibed with me. But I could definitely see myself, maybe if I wasn't in the mood for it, being like, yeah, this is just horrible. So regardless, I wouldn't recommend.